Wow. Naropa University, class of 2021. Just trip off how crazy that sounds for a minute. Advanced, dystopian, apocalyptic. The fact is that we are living in the future. Many predictions have been made about this future by everyone from economists, climate scientists, and think tanks, to philosophers, poets, and even prophets. Well, here we are. You and me and all the everybody of sentient beings who are desperately counting on some form of sanity to prevail on a deeply troubled and imperiled planet. So before I say another word, I want to enthusiastically offer you a 21-ton salute for having made it this far in the first place. That was never a fait accompli, and if you're anything like me, you've probably had many moments where it looked like you actually might not pull it off. Unlike Ivy League institutions, which prepare people for material and technological success, our contemplative education at this crazily wise Buddhist-influenced institution has provoked us to look deeply into the very essence of who we are as spirit beings having a human experience. We have faced Babylonian towers worth of maladies like structural racism, the patriarchy, heteronormativity, and the like, beset, if not bombarded, by notions like planned obsolescence, systems theory, and intersectionality. Really? Yes, really. We have been forced to reckon not with statistics and algorithms, but with the very psycho-spiritual origins of human dysfunction. How many times have you cringed just anticipating the next discussion post, the vulnerability exposing homework assignment, or the next warrior exam? Time and again, we have faced down the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, the arrows of Mara's demons assaulting Buddha underneath the Bodhi tree. And the invitation, the provocation, was to not freak out like so many in this chaotic moment, but to respond with deep presence, compassion, and skillful means. And don't forget for a minute the broader social conditions you did so in. The COVID pandemic or plandemic, the Great Reset, Black Lives Matter and white nationalist unrest, Trumpism, political skullduggery, a full frontal attack on democracy at the Capitol, and now mass shootings and bomb threats. It was nearly 60 degrees on Christmas Day and nearly 80 degrees in early April. As I write this text, my visual field, in fact, is diminishing with stress and anxiety, and I'm reminded of why it took me so long to deal with this address in the first place. And I'll tell you exactly what I did. I lit a stick of incense, got up, took some deep breaths, did a little stretching, made a cup of tea, and came back to the computer. I'm confident that at least some of you out there can relate. We can do this. We have to. The causes and conditions of our lives have led us to an education that has prepared us to be spiritual first responders. And as we steel ourselves to the mission ahead, let us also pause to acknowledge and celebrate the positive trends that we see arising in our time. States across America are beginning to lift the restrictions and impositions made on our lives as a result of COVID. Some of the side effects of the pandemic have been deer spotted in Central Park in New York City, mountain lions in downtown Boulder, shrinkage of the hole in the ozone layer, and the stunning ability of New Delhi residents to see the Himalayan mountains for the first time in recent memory. And as I write these words, the state of Minnesota has delivered a guilty on all counts verdict for the murderer of George Floyd, Officer Derek Chauvin. As long as the arc of history has been bending, it is bending toward justice. Now is not the time for trepidation and cowering, but boldness and vision. I have said from time to time that the advantage a Naropa education affords us over an Ivy League one is that an MBA, lawyer, or tech specialist is not trained to deal with the moment where you step out of your house and the entire neighborhood is upside down. We live in extraordinary times, the best and the worst, if there ever were such times. And our familiarity with shunyata, or emptiness, means that we can even challenge the notion of time itself. As I said in a song I recorded many years ago, it's only Maya, illusion, samsara. And so, with that said, let us boldly go where no one has gone before, into the wild blue yonder of tomorrow, apocalypse, age of Aquarius, or more than likely, both. May we be ever mindful of the things that we discovered here that not only bring us joy, but are in fact technologies for self-realization and transcendence. Let us stay vigilant about our yoga, tai chi, aikido, and ikebana practices. If you're a musician, keep playing. Music, art, photography, whatever you do that gives your soul nourishment, guard it like a precious jewel. Let us also keep in our hearts and minds the many wonderful instructors, staff, and administration of Naropa who kept us on our journey, on our path, straight and narrow or sprawling and messy. Please keep yourself sane and functional. The world needs you desperately. The three trends to be reckoned with going forward into this great reset, the way I see it, will be natural consequences, ripening karma, and boundary dissolution. It was perhaps not given to you to finish the task, and yet you may not give it up. And the times are so crazy that you just might finish it. Essentially, we have our marching orders from Siddhartha Gautama himself and from the holders of the Kagyu lineage responsible for Naropa through Trungpa Rinpoche and beyond. Good luck, Godspeed, may all beings be happy, and may the world know healing, peace, joy, prosperity, and positive transformation. Ashe.